From when I was a child, I had a lot of books. Since I was very young in age, I would only look. The books were strange in nature and I had a lot of time. I'd leaf through all the pictures and wonder if they were kind. I came across this pretty book while I was at my storage. I want to share with you today how I came to some kind of courage. So young in age, how hard I tried, I wanted to understand so much more of the people that were with me on my land. I recommend for you a book, a photography collection that I would look, for you to understand a bit what type of exposure and of wit. And this is not it. Poverty and grime with a glamorous offset shine. Diane Arbus is her name. Go see her art and know her fame, as I have done when I was little, so know my background and have a giggle. This footage from Toronto, I'll edit now and get out pronto. So in the edit processes, a childhood friend of mine got onto the platform Facebook and had a little wine about the Cambridge Analytics and how it is unfair, told everyone she's leaving and wanted me to be aware. We exchanged some odd old times and she commented that it was intense. I must agree with her, I don't sit on the fence. She said her first experience to sex was at my house. I had a bunch of magazines stacked up, including Penthouse. She most remembered Playboys and the dirt made her want to bath. I reminded her of the Hustlers and we had a bigger laugh. So I read this story, I am inspired. Please listen to it alone when you are tired. After all, it is a bedtime story and can be fairly gory. Please tell me what you think and comment in ink. Follow, like, and subscribe.
Slovenly Peter, or Pretty Stories and Funny Pictures for Little Children. When the children have been good, that is, to be understood, good at meal times, good at play, good all night and all day, they shall have pretty things Merry Christmas always brings, but naughty, roaming girls and boys tear their clothes and make a noise, spoil their pinafores and frocks, and deserves no Christmas box. Such as these shall never look at this pretty picture book. The publisher herewith presents a reprint of this celebrated collection of stories and pictures for children, which has remained a classic for well over 100 years. A result of chance and necessity, Slovenly Peter has its inception in the year 1844 when Dr. Heinrich Hoffmann, the medical man of a lunatic asylum in the town where he lived, tried to find a suitable picture book for his 3-year-old son. But the doctor found only long tales of stupid collections of pictures and moralizing stories. Resolving to do something about this, the doctor bought a notebook with blank leaves and returned home to inform his wife of his intention to write and illustrate a book of the kind he deemed necessary. This he proceeded to do. A classic was born which went into at least 500 German editions as Struwwelpeter, and more than 100 editions in English. This famous book most certainly will bring a healthy and hearty response from its American readers. Teachers, parents, and children themselves may find it a refreshing change in these permissive days. Published by the Charles E. Tuttle Company, Inc., published in 1969. The representatives in Zurich, London, Melbourne, and Canada in Edmonton. Just look at him. There he stands with his nasty hair in hand. See? His nails are never cut. They are grimmed as black as soot, and the solvent, I declare, never once has combed his hair. Anything to me is sweeter than to see this shock-headed Peter. Yeek! His nails. The story of cruel Frederick. Here is cruel Frederick, see? A horrid, wicked boy was he. He caught the flies, poor little things, and then tore off their tiny wings. He killed the birds and broke the chairs and threw the kitten down the stairs. And oh, far worse than all besides, he whipped his Mary till she cried. The trough was full, and faithful Tray came out to drink one slurry day. He wagged his tail and wet his lips, when cruel Frederick snatched up a whip, and whipped the poor Tray till he was sore, and kicked and whipped him more and more. At this good Tray grew very red, and growled and bit him till he bled. Then you should only have been by to see how Frederick did scream and cry. So Frederick had to go to bed. His leg was very sore and red. The doctor came and shook his head and made a very great to-do, and gave him a nasty psychic too. But good Tray is happy now. He has no time to bow-wow. He sits himself in Frederick's chair and laughs to see the nice things there. The soup he swallows, sup by sup, and eats the pies and puddings up. The dreadful story about Harriet and the matches. It almost makes me cry to tell what foolish Harriet befell. Mamma and nurse went out one day and left her alone to play. Now on the table close at hand a box of matches chanced to stand, and kind mamma and nurse had told her that if she touched them they would scold her. But Harriet said, "Oh, what a pity, for when they burn it is so pretty. They crackle so and spit and flame. Mamma too often does the same." The pussy cats heard this, and they began to hiss, and stretched their claws and raised their paws. "Meow," they said, "meow, meow, you'll burn to death if you do so." But Harriet would not take advice. She lit a match. It was so nice, it crackled so, it burned so clear, exactly like the picture here. She jumped for joy and ran about, and was so pleased to put it out. The pussy cats saw this and said, "Oh, naughty, naughty miss," and stretched their claws and raised their paws. "'Tis very wrong, you know. Meow, meow, you will burn if you do so." And see, oh, what a dreadful thing, the fire has caught her apron string. Her apron burns, her arms and hair, she burns all over everywhere. Then how the pussy cats did mew. What else, poor pussies, could they do? They screamed for help, 'twas all in vain. So they said, "We'll scream again. Make haste, meow, meow. She'll burn to death, we told her so." So she was burnt, with all her clothes, and arms and hands, and eyes and nose, till she had nothing more to lose, except her little scarlet shoes, and nothing else but these was found amongst her ashes on the ground. And when the good cat sat beside the smoking ashes, how they cried, "Meow, meow, meow." What will mamma and the nurse do? Their tears ran down their cheeks so fast they made little ponds at last. At last. The story of the Inky boys. As he had done before, the woolly-headed blackamoor, one nice fine summer's day, went out to see the shops and walk about. And as he found it hot, poor fellow, he took with him his green umbrella. When Edward, little noisy wag, ran out and laughed and waved his flag, and William came in jacket trim, and brought his wooden hoop with him, and Arthur too snatched up his toys and joined the other naughty boys. So one and all set up a roar and laughed and hooted more and more, and kept on singing, "Only think, oh Blackie, you're as black as ink." Now tall Agrippa lived close by, so tall he almost touched the sky. He had a mighty inkstand too, in which a great goose feather grew. He called out in an angry tone, "Boys, leave the blackamoor alone, for if he tries with all his might, he cannot change from black to white." But they did not mind a bit what great Agrippa said of it, but went on laughing as before, and hooted at the blackamoor. Then great Agrippa foams with rage. Look at him on this very page. He seized Arthur, seized Ned, takes William by his little head, and they may scream and kick and call. Into the ink he dips them all, into the inkstand, 1, 2, 3, till they are all as black as can be. Turn over now, and you shall see. See? There they are, and there they run. The blackamoor enjoys the fun. They have been made as black as crows, quite black all over eyes and nose, and legs and arms, and head and toes, and trousers, pinafores, and toys, the silly little inky boys, because they set up such a roar and teased the harmless blackamoor. The story of the man that went out shooting. This is the man that shoots the hares. This is the coat that he always wears. With game bag, powder horn, and gun, he's going out to have some fun. He finds it hard without a pair of spectacles to shoot the hare. The hare sits snug in leaves and grass and laughs to see the green man pass. Now, as the sun grew very hot, and he a heavy gun had got, he lay down underneath a tree and went to sleep, as you may see, and while he slept like any top, the little hare came hop, 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 took the gun and spectacles, and then on her hind legs went off again. The green man wakes and sees her place the spectacles upon her face, and now she's trying all she can to shoot the sleepy green-coated man. He cries and screams and runs away. The hare runs after him all day, and hears him call out everywhere, "Help! Fire! Help! The hare! The hare!" At last he stumbles at the well, head over ears in he fell. The hare stopped short, took aim, and hark! Bang went the gun, she missed her mark. The poor man's wife was drinking up her coffee in her coffee cup. The gun shot cup and saucer through. "Oh dear," she cried, "what shall I do?" There lived close by the cottage there the hare's own child, the little hare, and while she stood up on her toes, the coffee fell and burnt her nose. "Oh dear," she cried, with a spoon in hand, "such fun I do not understand." The Story of Little Suck-a-Thumb. One day Mamma said, "Conrad, dear, I must go out and leave you here. But mind now, Conrad, what I say. Don't suck your thumb while I'm away. The great tall tailor always comes to little boys that suck their thumbs. And ere they dream what he's about, he takes his great sharp scissors out and cuts their thumbs clean off, and then you know they never grow again." Mamma had scarcely turned her back, and the thumb was in, alack, alack. Oh, the door flew open, in he ran, the great long red-legged scissored man. Oh, children, see, the tailor's come, and caught out little Suck-a-Thumb. Snip, snap, snip, the scissors go, and Conrad cries out, "Oh, oh, oh!" Snip, snap, snip, they go so fast that both his thumbs are off at last. Mamma comes home, there Conrad stands and looks quite sad and shows his hands. "Ah," Mamma said, "I knew he'd come to naughty little Suck-a-Thumb." The Story of Augustus, who would not have any soup. Augustus was a chubby lad, fat, ruddy cheeks Augustus had, and everybody saw with joy the plump and hearty boy. He ate and drank as he was told, and never let his soup get cold. But one cold winter's day, he screamed out, "Take the soup away! Oh, take the nasty soup away! I won't have any soup today." Next day, now look, the picture shows how lank and lean Augustus grows. Yet though he feels so weak and ill, the naughty fellow cries out still, "Not any soup for me, I say! Oh, take the nasty soup away! I will not eat my soup! I will not eat it, no." The third day comes. Oh, what a sin to make himself so pale and thin. Yet when the soup is put on table, he screams as loud as he is able, "Not any soup for me, I say! Oh, take the nasty soup away! I won't have soup today." Look at him. Now the fourth day's come. He scarcely weighs a sugar plum. He's like a little bit of thread, and on the fifth day he was dead. The Story of Fidgety Philip. Let me see if Philip can be a little gentleman. Let me see if he is able to sit for once at the table. Thus Papa bade Phil behave, and Mamma looked very grave. But Fidgety Phil, he won't sit still. He wriggles and giggles, and then I declare, swings backwards and forward, and tilts up his chair, just like any rocking horse. "Philip, I'm getting cross." See the naughty, restless child growing still more rude and wild, till his chair falls over quite. Philip screams with all his might, catches the cloth, but then, what makes matters worse again, down upon the ground they fell, glasses, plates, knives, forks, and all. How Mamma did fret and frown when she saw them tumbling down, and Papa made such a face. Philip is in sad disgrace. Where is Philip? Where is he? Fairly covered up, you see, cloth and all lying on him. It was pulled down all upon him. What a terrible to-do. dishes, glasses snapped in two. Here a knife and there a fork. Philip, this is cruel work. Table all so bare, and poor papa and poor mamma look quite cross and wonder how they shall make their dinner now. The story of Johnny Head in Air. As he trudged along to school, it was always Johnny's rule to be looking at the sky and the clouds that floated by. But what just before him lay in his way, Johnny never thought about, so that everyone cried out, "Look at Johnny, Johnny there, little Johnny Head in Air!" Running just in Johnny's way came a little dog one day, and Johnny's eyes were still astray. Up on high in the sky he never heard them cry, "Johnny, mind the dog is not—" Bump, dump! Down they fell with such a thump, dog and Johnny in a lump. Once, with head as high as ever, Johnny walked beside a river. Johnny watched the showels, trying which was cleverest at flying. Oh, what fun! Johnny watched the bright round sun going in and coming out. This was all he thought about. So he strode on, only think, to the river's very brink, where the bank was high and steep, and the water very deep, and the fishies in a row stared at him coming so. One step more, oh, sad to tell, headlong in poor Johnny fell, and the fishies in dismay wagged their tails and ran away. There lay Johnny on his face with his nice red writing case, but as they were passing by, two strong men heard him cry, and with sticks these two strong men hooked poor Johnny out again. Oh, you should have seen him shiver when they pulled him from the river. He was a sorry plight, dripping wet, and such a fright, wet all over everywhere, clothes and arms, face and hair. Johnny never will forget what it is to be so wet. And the fishies, 1, 2, 3, are coming back again, you see. Up they come the moment after to enjoy the fun and laughter. Each popped out his little head, and to tease poor Johnny said, "Silly little Johnny, look, you have lost your writing book." The story of the Flying Robert. When the rain comes tumbling down in the country or the town, all good little girls and boys stay home and mind their toys. Robert thought, no, when it pours, it's better out of doors. Rain it did, and in a minute Bob was in it. Here you see him, silly fellow, underneath his red umbrella. What a wind! Oh, how it whistles through the trees, flowers, and thistles. It has caught his red umbrella. Now look at him, silly fellow. Up he flies to the skies. No one heard his screams and cries. Through the clouds the rude wind bore him, and his hat flew on before him. Soon they got to such a height that they were nearly out of sight, and the hat went up so high that it really touched the sky. No one ever yet could tell where they stopped or where they fell. Only this one thing is plain, Bob was never to be seen again.
As in many classics and other works of art, the creation of Slovenly Peter came about by chance. The world of literature was greatly enriched thereby. This colorful and imaginative collection was originally entitled the English Struwwelpeter, or Pretty Stories and Funny Pictures for Children, a celebrated German work of Dr. Heinrich Hoffmann. Judged by contemporary standards, the punishment for children something in those days were rather harsh, but children weren't as pampered as many of today's children.
Further, the author resorts to hyperbole,
or gets his heavy moral lessons across. Indeed, many of those stories aren't pretty, and some of the pictures aren't funny, as when Augustus is going to an early grave after refusing to eat his soup. Much of the book's fascination, however, is in these illustrations, which, attracted by their semi-morbidity, and some of the misguided little angels do profit from the punishments, turned to the true and narrow paths of righteous decorum. Catchy and often humorous rhymes captured the imagination, carrying adults as well as children to the alluring land of make-believe.
So that was nice. Good night. Sleep tight. And don't let the bed bugs bite.